Hello, everyone. It's that time again. Time for Sunday, and it's a new Confessions Go. This is Confessions number 34, still part 3. Hello, everyone. I'm the host of these Confessions videos. My name is Mr. Ozzy Rose. I hope everyone's having a great day. It's me, no complaints as usual. I knew up front, I've known for about 4 or 5 days what this Confessions video was going to be about. In the Confessions video, I'm telling you two true story things that happened to me in my life. This is every young man's dream, middle-aged man's dream, and old man's dream. Did I ever think it would have happened to me? No, it happened a total of 4 times, so we'll get on with it. I was 16 years old. I just moved to West Memphis, Arkansas. I was living with my aunt and my uncle by marriage, and I was working with him in the floor covering business over in Memphis, Tennessee. And I'd been working for just a few days, and this was a Sunday. We had Sunday off. So I just left walking from the apartment, and I was walking by these 2 beautiful ladies, and they was wearing 2-piece bathing suits, and they were tanning. And the one said, "Hey, would you mind putting some of this suntan lotion on us?" I said, "Sure." Well, and we got to talking, and the one said, "This is my first cousin. She lives here in West Memphis. She's got a home." She said, "Me and my sister live together in the same apartments. Are you living in these apartments?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, me and my sister live together, and my sister's a West Memphis cop." I said, "Okay." And, we got to talking, and she said, finally, the other one said, "Hey, would you like to have some fun?" I said, "Sure, I'm up for fun." And so we wound up going to the one that lived with her sister was a West Memphis cop. We went to her apartment. One thing led to another, and these were older women. They were in their later 20s. So I think you know what happened. I had sexual relations with both of them, and kind of kinky. They were first cousins, but it was a lot of fun. But when it was over with, they were still having their fun in the bedroom. I went to the living room, and her sister came in, the cop, and she was my height. And she said, "Well, what's your name?" And I told her, and she said, I said, "I'm here with your sister and the first cousin." I said, they're in the bedroom." She goes, "Well, I know what they're doing then." She goes, "I imagine you had some fun with them too, didn't you?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." She goes, "Don't call me ma'am." So she said, "Would you like to have a few drinks?" I said, "Well, I'm not 21. She goes, "I can tell that." She said, "Didn't my sister tell me anything about me to you?" I said, "Yes." She said, "You was real easygoing, real laid back. You wasn't a real strict cop." She goes, "I'm not." She goes, "I got a bottle of Canadian Mist up on the refrigerator here." She goes, "I'll go get it and get us a couple of shot glasses." So she sat down there. We had quite a few shots, of course. And got to know one another, and then next thing you know, the 2 first cousins come out, and all the 2 first cousins wanted to do was just to have sexual relations, smoke weed reefer, and that was it. I met up with them another 3 times, and we did the same thing, smoked a little reefer, had sex and stuff like that. And then after that, by that time, me and my aunt and uncle by marriage, we moved to Memphis, Tennessee. So I lost track of them. But the other first cousin, she was a female escort in Memphis, and she owned her own brick home in West Memphis and had a cement pond that she owned, which is a swimming pool. And she had 2 new vehicles that was paid for. And so we got to working 7 days a week, me and my uncle by marriage, and we was living in Memphis, so I didn't get to come to West Memphis that much. And then one thing led to another with meeting my band and stuff like that. But that was every young man's dream, middle-aged man's dream, and old man's dream. Has it happened to me since? No. I didn't expect it to happen back then. Yeah, sure, you would love for it to happen. And it was kind of like a deja vu type of thing when it did. It blew my mind. But it was fun, the times that it lasted, a total of 4 times altogether. Now, there was one time I was working, we was working over in Memphis, and I had to go down and get some carpet cement tape. And I run into one of them then, and she said, "Where you been all this time? We've been looking for you." I said, "Who's we?" "Me and my first cousin." She said, "Don't you still want to have fun?" And I said, "Well, yeah, but we live over here in Frazier now, and we're working 7 days a week." And I told her I'm in with a band now and everything kind of too. So I said, y'all still live in the apartments? She said, as far as you go? She goes, no. She said, my first cousin, she sold her home and said that she's living in Bartlett, which is a suburb of Memphis. She said, no, me and my sister's still a West Memphis cop, but she said, we live in Earl. I said, oh, okay. So, but I never got around to finding the other one that lived in Bartlett, and then I never had time to go to Earl either, and at the time I didn't own a car. So it was good to run into her and touch up on old times kind of and stuff like that. But what I'm getting at too, like I said, I don't expect that to ever happen again. I didn't expect it to happen back then, and it did. It was great, when it happened, but when we were doing the floor covering business, me and my uncle, we was working for an outlet at the time. And then we was working for ourselves when we got off work for them. And we got to lay in the strip clubs in Memphis. And we laid floor covering in every strip club in Memphis, Tennessee. And everyone that we went to, the bartender would tell us, when you get done, the drinks and snacks are on the house. So when we got done, that's what I would sit at a table by myself and just drink shots of whiskey. I didn't have addiction issues back then. And of course, you would see everything that was going on, but all the women did was take their tops off. But you would see them at times over on these long kind of like sectionals, and they were practically having sex with men with their clothes on. Of course, some of the women would come up to me and say, hey, would you like to would you like to dance with us? Back then it was $1 a dance, and I said, no. You've seen one, you've seen them all anyway. So I would just sit there and have shots of Jack Daniels and smoke my cigarettes and just watch the women take their tops off on the stage. But my uncle by marriage, he would dance with the strippers for $1 a dance back then. And he would always come by my table dancing with one of them and say, don't tell your aunt, don't tell your aunt. I said, man, I ain't telling her nothing, man. And when we'd get back home, he would tell on himself, and then he would tell on me like I was going to get in some kind of trouble. I knew I wouldn't get in no trouble. She goes, he ain't going to get in trouble for nothing. She goes, I don't know why you tell on him. He's already a grown man. He's been a grown man since he was 13. I don't tell him what to do. And said, you might as well quit snitching on him. He does what he wants, and he's got more sense than you. And she said, you're there to make money, not spend money on them strippers $1 a dance, you damned idiot. Which he would always tell off on himself. He was like that. Now he didn't drink, he was the type of guy, if he drank 2 beers, he was sloppy drunk. So he would always just dance with the strippers for $1 a dance and then go home and tell on himself, and always try to tell on me like I was going to get in some kind of trouble. I was a free spirit. I done what I wanted, and my aunt knew that I had good sense and I was a man, even though I was a teenager still, so and he was funny in a lot of ways, and I do dearly miss him. He's been dead and gone a long time. And I had a lot of fun in West Memphis, Arkansas, but I had even more fun in Memphis, Tennessee. I learned a lot. I seen a lot. I had some things done to me there that wasn't so good. But seen a lot of great concerts at the Mid-South Coliseum. I have a lot of good memories there. It's a shame that the Coliseum is still dry rotten to this day. I had a lot of great times, like I said. But that's the way life is, as y'all know. We have many highs and many lows in our life. I tend to believe I had more highs than I did lows. There were some tragic things that happened with my band and stuff like that, that my family didn't know I was in a band. The only ones that knew was 2 people, and I swore them to secrecy, and that was my mother and my aunt. I said, you cannot tell anybody in the family. They'll think that I'm some rock and roll star, which we had a good following. But that's to come in some more confessions videos. But I wanted to tell you some highs in this confessions videos. And I hope y'all could take some of that away from me, there. It was fun, there was no doubt, for a young lad. But that's going to about wrap it for this confessions video. Please join me for my live show tonight at 7 p.m., the Strutting Man Show on TikTok Live. And I got to do my commentary segment next. So until next time on the confessions video, which will be 35, have a great day and a great night, everybody. So long. God bless you all.